started? That's a good question. Literally by mistake, I saw 3 tankers in the street delivering to 3 different properties about 3 years ago, interesting enough. I realised that would have been 3 different phone calls, 3 different negotiations of the price, 3 different trips into a tiny village with tiny roads, and that felt like that was very tiny thinking. So it just went click, click, click. Why don't we buy our energy together? It didn't matter what type of energy, but buy it together. It surely had to bring the costs down and also keep lots of truck journeys out of the village by coordinating deliveries, reduce the carbon emission of delivery by having one truck journey from the depot, bang, bang, bang around the village and then back out again. And to be honest, 3 years on, it's escalated to a point which I couldn't even have imagined. That is another good question. Okay, what impact can these smart meters have for oil fuel poverty? Well, oil fuel poverty is completely different to standard fuel poverty. The cost to put just 500 litres of oil into one of these tanks is huge. It's at least £350 at the moment. It can be more. And finding that for a lot of people in one go is an awful lot. So the idea is that we've been working with a Cotsway Housing Association. So we fill it up, we put 500 litres in, and because we've got the smart meters on them, you can work out how much people are using, and we've gone with a pay-as-you-go model where people have chosen to pay either a weekly or 2 weekly or even monthly to actually cover the cost of their oil. And we're watching it closely and we're working out, and the pilot's gone particularly well. Where can this all go? That's a very good question. There are 1.7 million of these, newer ones as well, and slightly older than most likely. Where can this all go? There are 1.7 million oil tanks, and they all look like this. There's lots of newer ones too across the UK. 1.7 million oil users who generally have no idea what is in their tank. These gauges very often do not work. The other things that can go on top to tell you how much is in there measure tenths, which is particularly accurate. So we put smart meters on them that can actually measure down to parts, tenths of a litre, not just tenths of a tank. So the idea of coordinating, bringing energy security. Start again. So the idea therefore would be to coordinate tens of thousands of orders at one time and take them to supply market when the supply market was at its least busy and the oil price was at its lowest, to actually benefit everybody. Seems to make sense to me. The government are obsessed with smart meters and joining up electricity and gas users, but they've completely and utterly left oil users to their own devices. And so what we're doing is completely unique, bringing together oil users on a rural smart grid, coordinating their deliveries and actually bringing energy security to many, many isolated people. Who do we work with? We work with rural community councils across England, housing associations, lots of community groups. We've developed our own community buying groups. So Community Buying Unlimited is about community buying groups, some of which are oil. We do lots of other products, but we work with lots of different organisations and collaborate. We're buying for Age UK up in Cumbria. We've worked with the Eden Project on developing a project down in Cornwall. So we are literally collaborating with as many different people as we can to leverage their influence to get to as many oil users, to bring them online into a system that has to benefit everybody by being linked up and coordinated. Okay, so I call that joining up the dots. So every off-gas community might as well be in the Hebrides, because getting oil out to them via a truck can be particularly difficult, particularly when it's snowed. It's snowing at the moment. So the idea of joining up the dots is that we envisage, particularly for using the rural community councils, but also housing associations and other groups, we envisage literally having a coordinator in every single village to try and coordinate a group, so that we get a group in every village and then we can join up those dots.